The epidemic is raging in Beijing and Hebei. The epidemic has spread across China, with hospitals in Beijing and surrounding areas like Baoding, Langfang, and Shijiazhuang in Hebei province overwhelmed as many people are suddenly dying, but officials are covering up the outbreaks. Li, a village resident in Baoding, Hebei, told NTD on January 4th that many locals who developed fevers and colds have suddenly died, but officials are hiding the epidemics, and state media outlets are not reporting on them. Li: there are especially many people running fevers here. Many elderly and even some younger people seem to have passed away because of this. I know of 3 cases. The aunt down the road died in her sleep, and yesterday my mom's friend, who is only in her 40s, recently had a cold and died in her sleep as well. The authorities haven't made any announcements or said anything about this. They don't pay any attention to pneumonia now. They just say it's a cold. Everything here is fake. A Beijing resident revealed that many people in Beijing have colds and fevers, hospitals are overwhelmed, and people have to wait in very long lines. There have also been many sudden deaths among middle-aged people. They said many people weren't that old, in their 40s or 50s, more than previous years. The kinds of sudden deaths from heart attacks, strokes, and heart disease. I feel it's related to vaccines. How could officials investigate that? Of course they won't say. Another Beijing resident said many of his relatives and friends around him have died from the infections. Crematoriums have become a place of grief for him. It's very serious right now. Many have died from pulmonary fibrosis. Go take a look at the crematoriums. They're packed. I don't want to go to Babaoshan, it's heartbreaking. The vaccine-induced pulmonary fibrosis and large-scale heart attacks won't end in the next 5 years. There will be long-term effects. Additionally, since winter began, outbreaks have spread across Hebei province, and many have suffered repeat infections, with hospitals filled to capacity every day. Wang, a Beijing resident: I went to see a doctor in Langfang, Hebei yesterday. There were quite a lot of patients in every department, lots of sick people. The wards are full. One Hebei resident told the press, too many in Shijiazhuang, Hebei. Hospitals are overwhelmed. Since the cold set in, many, half classes at a time, have taken days off work, taken leave. As the outbreaks continue, people feel panicked and are voluntarily taking protective measures. Series of earthquakes shake China, latest 4.2 magnitude quake felt in Beihai City. On January 4, 2024, at 10:29 p.m., an earthquake with a magnitude of 4.2 on the Richter scale was detected off the coast of Yinhai District, Beihai City, Guangxi Province, China. The focus of the quake was 9 km beneath the sea's surface, with coordinates at 21.05 degree N, 109.24 degree E. Fortunately, as of 11:15 p.m. that night, no casualties or property damage were reported by China's fire department. The earthquake shook a significant area, felt as far away as the cities of Qinzhou, Fangchenggang, and Zhenjiang, with the epicenter proximate to Lingzhou Island. Beihai City's earthquake relief headquarters enacted a Level 4 emergency response protocol at 11 p.m. on the day of the quake. Local accounts, including that of Beihai City resident Wang Chunmei, described the event as a quick but violent experience that spurred residents to evacuate their homes. The experience caused a sense of panic as household items were visibly disturbed, leading many to seek safety outdoors. Comparatively, prior to the Beihai quake, a more severe 6.2 magnitude earthquake struck Jishishan County, Ningxia Prefecture, Gansu Province on December 18th, with devastating effects, including significant casualties and poverty-related issues highlighted by substandard building conditions. The Beihai seismic event has prompted a wave of online discussions, with citizens expressing concern and anxiety about the recent spate of earthquakes, especially as it coincides with the approach of the Lunar New Year. They underscored the need for vigilance and safety in light of the frequent tectonic activities. The digital space provided videos showcasing the quake's impact, including one where a man is seen taking cover under a desk before quickly exiting the room when the shaking subsided. This series of earthquakes, notably the one in Beihai City, has raised public awareness and introspection among the Chinese netizen community regarding the seeming increase in seismic activities and the necessity for enhanced disaster readiness as the country approaches an important cultural holiday. Shanghai homeowners holding A4 signs suppressed by police. Netizens say CCP fears blank paper. On January 5th, netizen Poetry and the Distance posted a video on overseas social media platform X, claiming that on the afternoon of January 4th, homeowners on Shanghai's Luzhou Road gathered to protest due to reasons including the bank's illegal early lending and different policies for the same real estate project, demanding consistent measures to adjust interest rates. The video shows large groups of homeowners gathered to defend their rights, holding white A4 paper signs with black writing, forming protest slogans, "Hoyu Court illegal lending, request consistent measures to adjust interest rates." Many police were on site, with multiple officers going forward to snatch the A4 paper signs from the protesters' hands. Meanwhile, under unified chants, protesters shouted, "Request consistent measures," and "Request Suhui district government intervention." Afterwards, protesters clashed physically with the police. Screams of women can be heard at the scene. Many protesters shouted, "The police are beating people." Many police and 2 suspected plainclothes officers pushed a man against the wall. Many people held up cell phones to record. A female protester urgently shouted, "Record the police's faces! Record their faces!" In response, many netizens said the CCP fears A4 paper. Key point: A4 paper signs were confiscated. What the CCP fears is not you, but a group of you holding up A4 paper. The police put on masks to cover their faces when beating people, so the stability maintenance thugs I'm supporting now panic at the sight of blank paper and quickly confiscate them. People can wait, but paper can't? A4 paper triggered stability maintenance sensitive keywords. A4 paper is banned in China. Some netizens lamented, "In Taiwan, when banks play dirty tricks, the government helps the people and punishes the banks. In China, when banks play tricks, the government helps the banks and punishes the people. That's why Taiwan and China are 2 different countries." Seems like this kind of stuff has been happening more and more lately. Now China's police are no longer the national violent machinery to punish criminals, but murdering machines to stop citizens from defending their rights. Also, circulated online videos show on November 4th, 2023, over 100 homeowners from Guanlan International City in Lincheng City, Shandong Province gathered at the Lincheng municipal government, held up banners demonstrating and protesting property developer, providing no heating. Authorities dispatched many police to maintain stability on site, eventually cracking down on them. Some netizens expressed outrage. In China, other than cracking down and persecuting the people, what else can the police do? A typical police state. Other video messages show that on November 22, 2023, homeowners of Yitai Jindufu in Langfang, Hebei held up a banner at the Yitai Sales Center reading, "Uncertain delivery dates for Yitai Jindufu. Homeowners demand returning the houses. Return the houses. Return the houses. Return our hard-earned money." What we need is solutions, not excuses. Meanwhile, protesters shouted, "Return our hard-earned money." Additional video messages show that on December 5, 2023, homeowners of an abandoned development project in Jinshui District, Zhengzhou, Henan gathered to protest holding up A4 paper signs reading, "Mei Sheng, return our lives." They shouted slogans together, "Mei Sheng, return the houses." Some netizens said, this is essentially elevating a rights defense incident into a political incident. In regions occupied by the evil CCP, China, as long as the CCP exists, disasters can happen at any time, suffering exists all the time. China's TV viewership plummets to 30% as users complain of endless ads, fees, and distrust in state media. According to Forward Intelligence, Forward Industry Research Institute released the 2024 China Smart TV Interactive New Trend Report on January 3, 2024. The report pointed out that since 2016, China's TV viewership has plunged cliff-like from 70% to less than 30% in 2022. This trend was validated in an online survey where among the 4,183 consumers who participated, over 52.3% said they haven't turned on the TV for months, with only 15.6% of frequent users watching TV for 1-2 hours daily. In addition to the rise of mobile devices like phones and tablets that impacted TV usage rates, unsatisfactory user experiences and endless monetization tactics are also driving Chinese users away from TV. Some Chinese netizens directly mocked that now, when turning on the TV, it's full of ads as soon as it's switched on, everything requires payment, phones are more convenient, TV is fully paid now, unpaid ones are mostly selling stuff, who still watches it? How did public TV become like this? The report also pointed out that after turning on the TV, users have to endure boot-up ads and go through multiple steps before they can watch programs, a process that takes about 1-2 minutes, further weakening users' willingness to watch TV. In January 2023, Chinese actor Li Jiaming publicly criticized the Chinese official TV's chaotic fee collection. "Is it easy for common folks to make money?" He bluntly said, "In the past, turning on the TV was just watching TV. Now turning it on is fully paid. All kinds of monthly VIP. I spent thousands buying a TV. Then I still can't watch it. Every single item requires separate fees. It's very disgusting." Is it easy for common folks to make money? In addition to the cliff-like plunge in TV viewership, the 2023 CSM nationwide data shows that in August of the same year, CCTV Xinwen Lianbo Evening News average viewership was only 2.3%, hitting a new historical low. Following the paper's analysis, this phenomenon reveals that the audience feels fatigued towards the content and format of Xinwen Lianbo. The content of Xinwen Lianbo is always portraying a great and glorious correct situation, with very impressive economic and employment data, yet the reality is difficult employment, low income, expensive healthcare and education costs. This disconnect between content and actual lived experience causes people to feel distrust and dissatisfaction, and also makes people doubt the authenticity and objectivity of Xinwen Lianbo. In a discussion last year on Zhihu titled, "Why Don't Younger People Watch Xinwen Lianbo Anymore?" netizens wrote, 25 minutes of greatness and glory, 5 minutes of disasters around the world. Xinwen Lianbo is somewhat useful at certain times, but overall 80% of the content is brainwashing praise and nonsense. To be honest, this is the program I've hated watching the most since I was little. Nothing compares. Watching everyone so happy on one hand, seeing abandoned real estate projects on the other hand, complex emotions. To maintain my moral baseline, I will never praise this program. To protect my own safety, I've decided to smile without speaking. But the discussion was soon deleted. Expert: China's economy will continue to decline due to GDP fraud. According to year-end reports by several Japanese think tanks, China's GDP growth rate for 2023 is estimated to be around 5% and will further slide to 4% in 2024. Chinese economist Li Hengqing, based in the U.S., concurs with the prediction of China's economic decline. However, he argues that China's GDP figures lack substantive meaning as they are artificially produced by the regime. Reasons for the Chinese Communist Party setting 2023 GDP target at 5%. In March 2022, China set its 2023 GDP target at around 5%, the lowest in 30 years. Li explains that after 3 years of lockdowns, the regime was uncertain about economic prospects, so they set a relatively low target. Some expected revenge spending post-lockdowns. There were also hopes for new Premier Li Keqiang. However, these expectations did not pan out. China's economy showed no signs of recovery in Q1, slight improvement in Q2, then slid back down in Q3. Desperate to boost GDP in Q4, the regime aggressively took on more debt for infrastructure projects. China's economic growth has relied on investment, exports, and consumption. However, all three engines have stalled in 2023 amidst a violently fluctuating economy. With foreign investors and enterprises leaving, global supply chains shifting out, and Western countries blocking China's access to high technology, exports have stagnated. Meanwhile, domestic consumption dwindles as people lose jobs and income. Investment remains the only engine running, fueled by government infrastructure spending using debt financing. Li also argues that GDP figures are meaningless for ordinary Chinese people. Even if GDP grows on paper, it must translate to improved livelihoods to have significance. Yet despite official GDP growth claims, people sense the economic winter as they lose jobs and income. Li believes the 5% GDP growth target is fabricated, propped up by government infrastructure spending, which does not benefit people's lives. As the CCP governs only to protect vested interests rather than public welfare, its GDP bears no relation to the well-being of common folks. Given the current economic malaise, China's economy will deteriorate further in 2024, predicts Li. Ongoing foreign divestment, supply chain shifts out of China, and weak domestic consumption will drag growth down. Moreover, infrastructure investment is hitting diminishing returns. Significant improvement would require political transformation towards democracy and rule of law. Only then can business confidence and prosperity be restored. Japanese think tanks also predict China's economic decline. Several Japanese research institutes concur that China's economy will continue decelerating in 2023 and 2024, citing factors like weak domestic demand, reduced trade and investment, depressed consumption and property markets, currency devaluation, etc. They attribute this to China's authoritarian system and dictatorship,